Welcome back to Hollywood, Lionhearts. How are you today? Oh, good. Glad to hear it. Well, Breck's on his way. He's bringing Jaw, and Breck and I are actually going to do a vlog that Breck wants to do. This is a movie that he turned me on to many years ago. He's been a huge fan of it, and when we went to Petersen Automotive Museum the other day, he kept wanting to take pictures over there because that's where a lot of it was filmed, so I said, you know what, let's do that today. So that's what we're doing today. Daze with Jordan the Lion begins now. Maybe I should turn this on, right? Yeah, whatever. Yep, that's right. Breck loves the movie starring Anthony Edwards called Miracle Mile. It was filmed over on Fairfax and Wilshire Boulevard, and Breck doesn't know it yet, but I'm gonna let him do a majority of the vlog today. I think this will be fun. And when I came home from the airport last night, I had a package. Jaw had a package. I shouldn't say I. Jaw had a package of treats from Lorraine McKinley. Thank you, Lorraine. He will love that. He'll be here very shortly. I'd love to try that move with Jaw, but there's no way. He can't keep his mouth closed when there's food around long enough to even get it on his nose like that. Too impatient. Hey! You only care about the food. You didn't even notice I'm here, did you? What's up, Rocket Man? Good to see you, Jaw. I missed you. Did you miss me? So Breck and I are at the corner of Route 66 heading out to do the Miracle Mile vlog. And I did tell you, Breck, that you are doing most of the vlogging today, right? I'll work the camera, but you're doing more of the talking.
This should be interesting.
Well, where our movie begins and where our vlog now will begin, it's right here in the La Brea Tar Pits. So the basis of this movie is basically there is a 30-year-old musician, a trombone player named Harry, who comes here to the La Brea Tar Pits. He's roaming around inside the museum over there, and he sees the woman of his dreams, the love of his life, and he doesn't act on it while he's in the museum. When he comes outside here, we get a little bit of a moment. So we're going to show you where they end up reconnecting after they leave the inside of the museum. So here's the museum that we originally see Harry and Julie walking around separately. Harry starts showing some of the kids that are on a field trip some things, and all that's in the background. You can come see that for yourself. We're just showing some of the outside scenes here in Park La Brea. So when they're in the gift shop, Harry wants to go up and talk to her and then gets cut off by an older couple getting in line, so he doesn't get to, and he ends up coming out here on this balcony and is kind of like berating himself for missing his opportunity. He's standing right up there with that woolly mammoth right in the background, and then Julie comes walking from over here. So here you can see where Breck's standing, that this is where that scene where Harry and Julie basically bond and basically start dating right here. They start going on a date.
I mean, you know, between when they, from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, is all within like 24 hours, so you know, there isn't a whole lot of time.
And then they actually go into the private gated community of Park La Brea, at least that section, which is right behind here, and that's where Julie lives. And then they eventually end up going over to Johnny's coffee shop. Not in the movie at the time. So in the movie we see this building quite a bit. Back then it was called the May Company. You can see the May Company written right down the side on either side of this. Then after that it became the Hollywood Costume Museum for many years. So here's Johnny's coffee shop. That's our next stop. Here's the Johnny's coffee shop that we see in the movie. This is where Julie works. So Harry and Julie are meeting up here, and she's basically saying that she has to work until 12:15 and is telling him that he needs to come back at 12:15. You can notice here that there used to be a Fat Boy like burger like almost like a big boy type character. There was a sign of him, and then going up there was also like these spinning cheeseburgers. Now Breck, what is you noticed that this has changed a little bit because
well, the phone booth isn't here anymore. Obviously, everyone has cell phones now. So.
Right, so tell them what happens at the phone booth, why that's like an important part.
That's the start of the whole story, because that's where Harry intercepts the telephone call from the missile silo in North Dakota of the guy who thinks he's calling his dad but dialed the wrong area code.
Right, and originally Harry's grabbing the paper out of all the, there used to be a bunch of newsstands right here. He's grabbing the paper and the phone just rings. Now, the reason that Harry is answering the phone is because he was supposed to meet her, like we said, at 12:15. However, the power in his hotel goes out. So the power goes out, he oversleeps, and he shows up here, and it's a 24-hour diner. So he has talked to the people inside, and they gave him Julie's phone number, so he had called and tried to leave a message. And so when he hears the phone ringing, he comes back over and answers it. This is not really a functioning, they film stuff here, but it's not an operating restaurant anymore. However, you can see directly in there, there's some people in there. They're, I don't know, maybe it is a functioning restaurant today, but this is where Harry's sitting there at the bar having his coffee, and he's kind of like freaking out, and he tells everybody about the phone call that he received while he was out here, and they all go into a massive panic and decide that they're basically gonna run for safety. And so they end up taking all the canned goods out of the restaurant and backing up the truck right into here, and they're loading up all the supplies and all the canned goods and everything that they're gonna take. Now when that all happens, Harry had came up here and kind of like parked his car at an angle right over here. There used to be a palm tree over here, and so while they're all loading up things, they don't notice one of the guys that was in the diner comes out and steals Harry's car and then takes off and drives out through here. Pretty major part of the movie. I mean, this is where they find out. I mean, this is literally where they all, and what's crazy about the movie, right, Breck, is that two things I love about it is that they show the dark side of humanity when people find out that this is all gonna like go down, how like they're shooting each other, running each other over and everything. But then the other thing I like about it is that they show how one guy just saying that something happened, an entire town can go into a panic.
This whole thing, yeah.
So there you can see the diner still looks pretty similar to the way it did in the movie. So we see this building, 5900, throughout most of the movie. It's very prominent in the movie, and this is actually where Harry hedges his bets on them getting out to safety. There's a helicopter waiting for them up there, and he's trying to get Julie and get up to the top of there so that they can fly off to safety, fly off to the airport, and then fly out of here. So now we're at the Petersen Automotive Museum, which is just catty corner to the coffee shop. And the role that this plays is that this wasn't even here when they filmed the movie. It was actually another building. It was like in the movie, it was a department store, because this is where the guy crashes the cop car into the department store, and then Anthony Edwards, well, Harry and Julie come running inside, and then the cops eventually show up out here. Now it's 3 floors of famous and valuable automobiles, but at the time, just a department store. So as we were watching the movie before we came out here, Breck, we noticed, or at least I noticed, that one of the guys in the movie was pretty famous. Who was it?
It was the guy that played Bubba Blue from Forrest Gump.
But what was he in the movie, in this movie?
He was the kid driving the cop car, the character Wilson.
Okay. So Tom Hanks made a movie with a volleyball named Wilson, and with that guy who was in Forrest Gump, and in this movie, that guy's name from Forrest Gump was Wilson. How's that all tie together? Okay, Breck, tell him what was behind. Now there's nothing there, it's a construction zone, but what was it in the movie?
Well, before, just to set up the scene here, at this point they've already gone up to the building to meet the helicopter, but there's no pilot up there. And so Harry takes it upon himself to start looking around just to try and find a pilot. It's 5 in the morning, so you know, like
yeah, slim chance.
All the pilot bars are closed. But he ultimately wanders into a gymnasium and just starts asking people randomly, you know how to fly a helicopter? You know how to fly a helicopter? Finally finds this Dolph Lundgren looking guy who says, I know how to do it. Yeah, I'm a little rusty in combat, but I can fly a helicopter. He pays him off and says, go meet me up at the top of the building and I gotta go get my girlfriend.
All right, now we're heading over to 5900, and that's the Mutual Benefit Life building. So right through here where Harry and Julie enter the building to go up in the elevators up to the top where they're supposed to catch the helicopter. Now we were just recently over here vlogging this because this is the largest section of the Berlin Wall outside of Europe, and it's actually right at the base of the building that we're heading over to. So we're thinking that this would have been the elevator section where they go into, because it's the only 3 elevators in a row that we've seen in the building. So this is the shot that we see when Harry sees the street sweeper making the left turn onto this road. He runs across the street and tries to stop him, and that's the same guy who was talking dirty inside the coffee shop, who Harry doesn't know it, but that's the guy that stole his car. Same guy, and when Harry tries to get his help and flag him down, the guy just kind of like tells him to buzz off and drives off. Now this should look familiar if you know the movie, because this is where we see Harry pushing the cart up at the top of those stairs with Julie in it. And then eventually they make their way back out here onto the sidewalk. Kind of crazy to see these streets all empty like this, but if you watch the movie then you see how they all end up, even early in the morning, they all end up finding out that this is imminent, and so this whole place is just jammed with wrecked cars and people running over other people and cars. So this area of the Los Angeles County Museum of Arts has not changed that much. You still see all these stairs, and you see Harry has went to Park La Brea and couldn't wake up Julie, so he throws her in a shopping cart and starts pushing her out of Park La Brea, and they end up right up here at the top of the stairs. So Breck says that they were coming from this direction in the shopping cart, and Julie starts complaining that her legs are starting to hurt from being inside the cart. Yeah, what a worrier, huh? And then they get out and start walking down the stairs that we just came up. So the community of Park La Brea that Harry goes and rescues Julie from is right straight through there, right on the other side of that street. So they would have pushed the cart down through here. So eventually Harry and Julie make it to the very top, and there's no helicopter. Not immediately anyway. But as they're standing up there and they're seeing that guy lose his mind at the very top, all of a sudden you start seeing these explosions coming from near the Hollywood sign, and then behind them comes the helicopter to rescue them. Now the helicopter takes off, starts to fly away, and then because of one of the blasts it loses all of its controls and basically has to set straight down into the mucky tar of the La Brea tar pits. As we're walking back over to the tar pits, look at this futuristic looking building, which is kind of cool. So the helicopter comes down right into the tar pits. Breck, tell us what happens.
Well, as Jordan said, they were just lifting off of the building over there when the first bomb explodes, we think over in like Burbank area. The blast comes over here. The EMP knocks out the electronics in the helicopter, and they basically just plop right into the tar pits. And
now, then you get a whole scene of them basically inside the helicopter as the helicopter's going down. Talk about that.
Yeah, well, Harry is trying to comfort
Julie.
Julie, thank you. Saying, well, maybe it'll be over quick. Maybe we'll get a direct hit, and they'll dig us up millions of years from now, and we'll be turned into diamonds. And that's kind of the last scene as the lights just kind of go out, and then you hear the explosion of the direct hit, and the movie's over.
So one of the oddities of it is that you never see the helicopter pilot again.
Yeah,
isn't that weird?
The second they hit the water, it's just Julie and Harry, and Dolph Lundgren is gone.
So the helicopter comes out of the sky right about here and right into this part of the water. Breck, another oddity in this movie that I think is kind of funny that nobody ever really mentions is how odd it is that he wakes up at 3:45 and then just shows up thinking she'd be standing out there, doesn't think anything odd about it at all, that he shows up
3.5 hours late.
Yeah.
No biggie. She'll be waiting there.
I think that's gonna do it for our Miracle Mile filming locations. Now Breck and I are gonna go get some lunch. Hey Breck, you know where I was thinking we should go since we're vlogging Miracle Mile?
Johnny's?
No, they don't serve food there. Where else? How about Canter's, where the old couple goes?
Okay, there you go, that'll work.
Yeah, there's a part in the movie where Julie's grandparents live in Park La Brea but don't live together because of some crazy argument. You never really know why. But when they find out that like the end is near, they reconcile and they come over to here, right where the May Company building was, and they basically tell them that they don't want to go, they don't want to try and escape, they just want to enjoy their last time together, and they decide to go do it over at Canter's. So that's where we're going. We've made it over to Canter's. One of the things I love about Canter's, they have a lot of the history of this area, this street, and this restaurant right here on the side of the building. You can see right there, Jesse Lasky Feature Play Company, which became Paramount, the old barn, and old Canter's. Now sadly, this is a family-run business, but the patriarch of it and the owner of it recently passed away within, I want to say, the last 2 weeks. Little nod to Sandy Koufax. Now Kurt Cobain used to, when he lived in Hollywood, he had 2 residences, and one was actually right on the other side of all these shopping stores or whatever. And so since he didn't have a license at the time where he could drive, he would come over here and spend a lot of time at Canter's. So it has that connection, but it's also one of the main hangouts of Guns N' Roses back in the day when they were playing the local Hollywood gigs. They were friends with Mark Canter, the son of the Canters, so he was taking band photos and doing a lot of things for him at the time, and so they used to come in here after a lot of their gigs, and there's actually a booth that's got a famous photo of the band sitting in that booth. So we're in Canter's. This is where they would have been going in Miracle Mile. So they said this is actually the Guns N' Roses booth, but what's weird is they have the photos of Guns N' Roses sitting in the booth in this booth, so we're gonna sit here. But I don't know why they didn't put this photo and that photo, which is the cover of Mark's book, why they didn't put that photo above the actual real booth. Kind of strange, isn't it? So you're looking at the menu, Breck. What are you gonna have? Are you gonna have the same thing that he says in the movie? What does he say in the movie?
I'm looking to find a triple bypass, greasiest pastrami sandwich I can find.
I'm sure you'll find it. And if you're watching my Canada vlogs, the pastrami sandwich is the same thing as the smoked meat sandwich I was eating in Montreal. What's weird is that sometimes you would order the smoked meat sandwich and you'd get corned beef, sometimes pastrami. And so I was kind of sitting here wondering, which one do I want to get, pastrami or corned beef? And then our waiter came over to take our drink order and he said, oh, well check this out. This is like our Fairfax special. It's the pastrami Reuben. It's got corned beef and pastrami on it, so I might try that. That, Breck, might definitely be the triple bypass sandwich.
It could be.
Okay, duh, now I get it. he's totally right. That is the Guns N' Roses booth right over the shoulder of Breck, because look up above them in the photo is that Canter's sign right there. So yeah, that totally is. See, now you can totally tell why it's, there we go. Well, since we're here and we figured out why this is the Guns N' Roses booth, I'm sitting in the axle position right under the photo.
Pretty much cooler if you
All right, Breck, you got your food. Looks pretty good.
It does.
I'm kind of glad that we did this vlog because it gave us an excuse to come to Canter's. I probably wouldn't have thought of it otherwise.
I've never even been here, so.
It's great. You'll love it. It looks amazing, but I'm sure I'll regret this. And you can't go into Canter's without getting a black and white cookie to go. What'd you think of the food, Breck?
That was a very juicy triple bypass sandwich.
Do you think that that was worth those two, that old couple, coming here for in place of trying to fly away for safety?
I guess if I was gonna choose a place to have my last meal, that would be a good choice.
Ah, evading the question, huh?
Yep.
Now we're gonna head up and show you, well, pretty much the last filming location for Miracle Mile. We're gonna go up to the hotel that Harry was staying at, where he overslept. And so where Harry was actually staying in the movie, and Breck was kind of laughing because we were saying it's kind of a Three's Company moment. What ends up causing the whole accident as to why he oversleeps is because he throws a cigarette out the window, or throws a cigarette, and a pigeon or like a bird picks it up and takes it to its nest, and then the nest catches on fire. So it's like, if that one thing didn't happen, like the whole movie, you know, he would have never got the phone call, any of that. So we're actually going right up here to the Chateau Marmont. So it's right here on the side of the Chateau Marmont that Harry's up there having his cigarette. Thinking about his big date, because he already knows when Julie tells him to come back at 12:15, she says he's gonna need all of his energy and that he should be taking a nap. So Guitar Center used to always have like a picture of famous artists and stuff, but now they're doing murals. And look at Jimmy down there. Well done, Guitar Center. Got the upside down headstock and everything the way it should be. You wanna go for a walk? Let's rock, let's do it, bud. The real reason that we were doing this vlog is because people have probably already seen it by now, probably a few days ago, but you were coming here because we are going back over to David Oman's house, and we're gonna do a ghost adventure with him. He's invited us to hang out. He says that his house has been high activity lately, and so he invited us to come out and live stream from his house. So that's why you're here, and that's why we did the vlog today.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. This is gonna be a lot of fun.
Well, gang, if you watched the 2 live stream videos that we made of the ghost investigation over at David's house, I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed what we did today, the Miracle Mile vlog, and get to have a great lunch at Canter's and a little bit of Guns N' Roses history in there. Want to thank Dana Gelino for making a contribution to my channel through Patreon, and thank you all for watching. We'll see you all tomorrow. Have a great night, and goodbye.